And for whatever reason, the gavel doesn't come through, so I'm just going to verbally just call the meeting to order. Please rise if you're able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Isili.
Present.
Councilman Pell.
Here.
Councilman Martell.
Present.
All right, thank
Can I
you.
just,
Well,
Kevin, can you make the supervisor a little bit louder?
Yeah, I can. Give me 1 second.
Just so we can
thanks,
hear her.
Michael.
Yep. You're good.
All right, well, as you know, I'm still home recuperating from my hip replacement surgery, but I'm glad to be able to participate and run the meeting today. Sure it's going to go smoothly. So I'll start with moving to approve the minutes from the regular town board meeting of May 27th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
Certainly. We've received the following communications in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the Suffolk County Legislature for a public hearing June 3rd, 2025 at 2 p.m. for proposed consolidation of agricultural districts. Suffolk County Planning, public notice and request for written comments on adopted shellfish cultivation zone and aquaculture lease site maps. Town of Southold, notice of public hearing and a notice of adoption. Village of North Haven, notices of adoption, financial disclosure statement filings from the listed individuals, and correspondence, emails, and letters regarding the following have been received. Cell tower proposed at North Sea Transfer Station, guidance regarding beach erosion control, Hampton Bays, invasive plants on CPF property in Hampton Bays, and a zoning board of appeals application for 284 East Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. The following bid and request for proposals was opened on Wednesday, June 4th, a bid for town hall masonry restoration for municipal works. And one report was filed by the town comptroller for the May 2025 monthly financial reports. And that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you. I'd like to move, I've got, there are 6 walk-on resolutions that I'll read, and I'd like to add them to the agenda if the board agrees. The first is Town Board Resolution ID number 49442 to authorize the waiver of demolition fees for the Long Island Head Start. The second is a substitution. It's Town Board Resolution ID number 50151. Memorializing resolution in connection with New York State Highway Law, Section 140.18. The third is Town Board Resolution 50152 to authorize the preparation of a map, plan, and report attendant to the establishment of a park district known as the East Quogue Park District. The fourth walk-on is Town Board Resolution ID number 50154 to authorize the waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility User Fee for Hampton Bays Boy Scout Troop 483 Swim Test Barbecue at Tiana Bayside. The fifth resolution is Town Board Resolution ID number 50155, the warrant number 11. And the sixth is Town Board Resolution ID number 50158 to authorize the waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility Use Fee for Sag Harbor Boy Scout Troop 455 End of Year Scouting Event. I move to add those resolutions to the agenda today.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Very good. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Public hearing number 1 to consider amending Chapter 312-11B to authorize additional stop signs on Noyak Road at the intersections of Long Beach Road and Stony Hill Road.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Rigger, Deputy Superintendent of Highways. So we're going to start on Long Beach in Noack Road. the stop sign there. The reason, a big reason was it obviously is a safety issue in that whole area, so we try to somehow simplify it, and also the county was opposed to putting a circle there, so that's why we did what we did there on Long Beach.
Mark, that's also going to be the site of soon-to-be pedestrian safety improvement project that then Councilmember Tommy John Scavone was able to get some grant funding for. That project is now within the highways jurisdiction.
Yes,
So,
it is.
okay,
So that kind of ties the whole project into that also.
okay.
Good with it.
Well, Mark, I think that what you have come up with, you and the highway superintendent, is a very simplistic and elegant, resolution to the issue. If we couldn't put in the traffic circle, this, I think it's going to work very well. So thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thanks for doing that. I go through there all the time. And stop.
Is that good for that one, or are we going to move on? And Stony Hill?
Yep.
Or we're not doing that one right now?
No, you get, yep, Stony Hill.
Yeah?
Yeah, we kind of,
They're
They're both on the resolution. Yeah, go ahead.
And then Stony Hill, I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It's very confusing there. So we basically made a three-way stop. It's all about the safety and the volume of people that we have out here now. So it's just part of the safety of everybody.
And this stop sign is very reminiscent of what you did at Head of the Harbor, Head of Pond Road, where you added the stop sign where there wasn't one.
Exactly.
So, you're taking a very atypical intersection and trying to make it more typical.
Yes, exactly right. Just safer.
Okay.
Any questions?
Maria?
Michael, are there any cards for this?
There are no cards for this public hearing. Is there anybody on Zoom? Mark? Kevin?
No one on Zoom.
Well, thank you, Mark. If there's no other questions, then I move to close the public hearing.
Second to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
Public hearing number 2, to amend Town Code, Chapter 312, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 312-97, entitled Speed Limits Within Community Planning Areas, subsection 8, entitled Noyak Unincorporated, Sag Harbor.
Deputy Highway Superintendent Mark Brager.
So here again, it was kind of confusing with half of Noack Road being 35, the other half pretty much being 30. And it's all about the safety of the travelers there and the volume amount of people. So we decided it would be a good idea, a safer way to make it a full 30 mile an hour for the full distance of Noack Road. And that's pretty much it.
And it's easier for the police department to police it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah, easier for everybody to have the consistency.
it's just too many people. Obviously the volume is tripled what we've had here years ago.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I don't have any.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any cards on this one, Michael?
Yeah, there is. There's one card. Catherine Murphy. You can come up. Yep, you have to go over there. Yeah.
Hi. We live in Noyak. We
You have
live
to
in
state your name and your address.
Catherine Murphy.
Just, your name and your hamlet. That's it.
Well, it's Beach Plum Road, which is in Northampton Colony. So we live parallel to Trout Pond. It's the neighborhood with the big signs with the birds on it. And right there at that stretch of Noyak, Mr. McArdle put in a speed radar about 6 weeks ago. And it's all well and good to change the limit from 35 down to 30. But if we don't have signs in place showing people what the speed limit actually is, it's hard to keep the speed limit. From Noyak School to Long Beach, there are 2 speed limit signs going west and 2 going east. There need to be more. And I'd also like to propose possibly having a crosswalk put in place from Mill Road to Trout Pond, because none of my neighbors can cross into Trout Pond to go on hikes and use the pond because of the traffic on Noyak Road. It's extremely dangerous. I've had to run across that stretch of Noyak with my dog and my little girl. It's just extremely dangerous, especially when people come off the curve coming west pick up speed right there. That's why Mr. McArdle put the speed radar right there. But our hope is that someday we'll actually be able to walk from our neighborhood to Trout Pond. Nobody walks there because of the traffic and the speed all the work trucks are going at.
Thank you.
Thanks.
If you're gonna put a
Thank you.
crosswalk, you have to put lights.
Yeah. Mark and Charlie, thank you, Catherine. We did a site visit there. Charlie's done a site visit. We're going to do one more site visit. We're going to walk through. We're going to take a look at the existing speed monitors, see which ones can be taken out and replaced with newer ones. And yeah, with respect to the crosswalk, that's going to be evaluated. So we'll take a look at that.
While you're looking at that, if you could also look at, there was a request for the Southampton Cove neighborhood to cross to get to the beach. I'm trying to think of which beach. Town Point.
That point. Just that, as long as we do the crosswalk, we also have to put the lights like they did,
With near the fellowship, the Christian fellowship.
or where you push it actually goes to red.
It's important to note that Noyak Road is 8 miles long, approximately, of just residential main road. And if you're a family, if you're a parent with kids, you worry about that. So you're right, Bill. We'll take a look at that.
It's just been all be blacktopped, so it's nice and smooth.
But I just want to thank you, Mark, for just your responsiveness to the community. The Noyak community has requested that there be enhanced public safety measures, and your department, in conjunction with the police department and everybody else, you've all stepped up. You've worked with us very closely, and I just want to appreciate everything that your department has done.
Okay, thank you.
That's no more cards.
Thank you.
Anybody on Zoom, Kevin?
No one on Zoom.
All right, then, if there's no other comments, then I move to close the second public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that brings us to the public portion section of the meeting. Michael, are there any
Yes.
cards for that?
Yes, we have a few cards. First up is Carol McNeil.
Also have to say 3 minutes.
And you'll have 3 minutes, Carol.
Don't worry, it's less than that. I practice.
Hi, Carol.
Hi. Yes, hi, Maria. Good to see you. Well, good afternoon. My name is Carol McNeil. I'm from Hampton Bays. Dear members of the board, I'm here today to thank you for allowing me and my family the opportunity to once again enjoy our home and backyard. I want to thank you for your concern, your dedication, and tenacity in the face of opposition. I thank you for using the resources, expertise, time, and money you have put towards the clarification of your authority over the Westwoods property in Hampton Bays. At the last board meeting, a member of the community brought forth the amount of money that has already been spent to legally clarify your authority. I think it was very sad to see somebody condemning you for spending money on doing your job and protecting all of us from anyone or anything that attempts to do things that can harm a community or surrounding property or are against the law. I encourage you to continue your pursuit of this clarification to protect all of us in Hampton Bays from environmental devastation, water, air, and noise pollution, and overdevelopment without oversight. I encourage you to continue to be diligent and steadfast as things develop and change. The entire board should seek clear direction on this oversight of this land. The Shinnecock Nation, in their own words, say they own all of Long Island. I would hate to see them seeking other land and claiming Aboriginal title to those lands just because they say they own it. This is an issue that is not just affecting Hampton Bays, it affects all of Long Island. Thank you for your time and due diligence. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait a second for the next one. Say something.
Want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to wait for this. Thank you very much for that. We take all the hamlets very seriously, and we're up here to protect all the people. Doesn't matter if it's Hampton Bays, Flanders, West Hampton, Noyak. We spent a lot of money over the years in Noyak for the sand mine. We spent money in Sugarloaf against the nation when they tried to do quick claims up there. We spent, I think, $2 million with last time they tried to put a casino there. We're spending money in East Quogue on Spinney Road. We're spending money with the golf course up there. So it's not just one area. People don't understand that. We're here to protect the whole town.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. All right, Michael, are there any other cards?
There are. Next one is Michael Benacasa. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Benacasa. I was the chief building, and I'm from East Quogue. I was the chief
Can you
building
talk up a
inspector
little
for
bit
this
louder?
town.
Speak closer to the mic.
Closer to the mic. Okay. So, my name is Mike Benacasa, East Quogue. So I was the chief building inspector for the town of Southampton for 18 years, from 2002 to 2020. I do a little bit of expediting now, if you could call it that. And everywhere I go, I hear complaints about how long it takes to get things out of the building department. So I'm here today to advocate for more help for that department, specifically in the areas of getting COs typed up. It takes 3 to 4 weeks after the inspector signs something off to get it typed up. It's holding up closings. It's creating havoc out in the real estate community. And I know a lot of folks say, oh, those people. Those people are the lifeblood of this community. We really need to do a better job in serving people, not just those people, but our residents. I have residents in my area that won't apply for permits to do things because it takes too long, it's too burdensome. It makes a lot of work for me. I don't need all that work, I don't want all that work, but we need to do a better job. I've offered my help a couple times to Cindy. I said, I'm more than happy to come in and speak to the board and tell them what they need. I was there for 18 years. I know what needs to be done there, but nobody asks. I don't understand. You can't continue to let things go on the way they are. And then I hear that the town board is contemplating going to require updated COs on a change of title. That'd be a disaster. You have no idea how much work that's going to create and further burden those good people down there. Please, free advice. Invite me to sit down to the board with the board in executive session, and I'll tell you my thoughts. It may help you. You may tell me to get lost, but that's okay. But you need to hear something from somebody that sat down and ran that department for 18 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay, Raymond Clare.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? I just want to talk on the cell phone tower. Raymond Clare, Cove Neck Lane, North Sea. The radio station tower behind the landfill installed cell antennas last winter. It's up on Great Hill. The service is good in North Sea. We have Starlink communications expanding, and Verizon is installing Fios, and they can put cell antennas on poles. We don't need a second tower next to the existing one. It is a residential area. No official signs were ever put up about this project around there anyplace. You know, official notice signs. Okay? North Sea's got enough stuff in it, you know. We got 2 dumps, we got rec centers and everything. How much more do you want to put in? So, but we have no reason to have another cell tower put up. So, and that is it. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Clare.
Thanks, I just want to say something on that, too. Want to sit down. Hey, Ray,
Yes.
No, you can't, you have to sit down, please. I can't go back and forth with you. The cell tower is going to be, it's in the planning department, and there'll be a public hearing on them. This started on the previous board, so this board had nothing to do with it. So at that time, when you have the public hearing with the planning board, you'll be able to come up and speak, and the neighborhood can be able to speak about it, for and against it.
Okay, there will be a public hearing on it.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Bill. Anything
That's
else?
what we were all concerned about.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you.
Next up is Rachel Verno.
Take care.
Three minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Rachel Verno. We had our CAC meeting last night. So thank you for the opportunity to speak this afternoon. Saves me having to write a letter and recap what we talked about. So we hope that the board will reconsider the scheduling of the Flanders CAC meeting so they don't conflict with the Watermill CAC. Since the formation of CACs, none of the meetings have ever been scheduled on the same day, and none of the other CACs have been asked to share days. With so much going on in both Flanders and Watermill, it seems like it would be beneficial to everyone if the scheduling could be resolved, so I hope you guys will take that into consideration. We also spent a lot of time talking about the traffic study and the roundabout resolution, and the fact that often in these studies and pilot programs, the residents of a community aren't put into the mix. The afternoon blinking light program may be terrific for commuters, not so great for people living in the village or who have kids at the Tuckahoe School. The August 2023 blinking light program in Watermill is often referenced as being a great success. Besides having no data collected to show that, which is unfortunate, the program also shut down all traffic on Old Mill Road and turned Little Cobb Road into 2 lanes heading east. These are both residential streets. 2 eastbound lanes were then created on Route 27 through the Hamlet Center, which is in direct conflict with our Hamlet study, and is also something that the state, as noted on page 8 of the traffic study, doesn't plan to pursue because of community character and pushback. So as the board continues to look at different ways to move traffic along, the CAC would ask you that you give more consideration to the people who live and have businesses in the hamlet. To that end, we'd respectfully ask that when you draft your letter to the state regarding the roundabout study, that you include a requirement to hold meetings with residents within our community while the study is being conducted, not after it's complete. We know the board is asking to be informed of any public hearings, but it's unclear to the CAC at what point during the process that occurs, and those hearings would probably take place in Albany. The last thing I'll mention is that in your final draft of the traffic report, there's an enormous amount of information about the importance of lower speed limits in regards to safety and the town's goal of Vision Zero. You have new PSAs about going 35 miles per hour on County Road 39. The speed limit in the village is 25 miles per hour. You just had a public hearing today to lower the speed limit on Noyak Road. The current speed limit in Watermill on County Road 39 is 45 miles per hour. The speed limit in Watermill for most of Route 27 is 40 miles per hour. Despite the Watermill CAC submitting a letter to the traffic committee asking the town to consider lowering the speed limits throughout the hamlet, there's no mention of that in the report. There is also no mention of Watermill being included as a location for placing speed monitors, which have proven to be so effective in the town. I have one sentence.
Rachel.
The only recommendation that made it into the traffic report about Watermill was
30 seconds.
removing the traffic light and installing roundabouts. We hope the board will also consider including some more immediate traffic calming safety measures like speed monitors, lighted crosswalks, and lower speed limits. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. So with respect to the county road, we're happy to work with you to get in touch with the county to discuss that. At the county road obviously makes determination as the county for that. With respect to the process as it pertains to the New York State study of the downtown area, we worked with you, as you recall. You were here. You had some suggested language. We've included all of that language to make sure that the needs of the CAC were reflected in that resolution. Going forward, the process, as I'm aware, in terms of what New York State DOT outlines, is that they will produce a study. We will have a chance to read the study. You will have a chance to read that study. There may be some sort of schematic proposal that they'll chalk up, and a meeting with the community will be had, and we'll make sure of that. As for the timeline, we'll have to wait until we receive feedback after we submit a letter on how that timeline will present itself.
I think, yeah, let her come back up.
Sure.
So, if I'm to understand correctly, during the course of the state study, there's not going to be any meetings with community members, or is
Well,
that
they're-
part of the study?
they're going-
You're drafting you're drafting a letter to the DOT, and our CSE will submit a letter asking about process. But I'm just curious.
In the letter that we'll send, we'll make sure that we request that the state meet with the CAC to discuss
But-
the process of when they embark on the study, if they could meet with the community and hear some of the concerns for
Yeah,
themselves.
that's what we were asking, is
Yeah.
that we be part of.
We are
instead of
more than
having-
willing to do that.
That would be terrific,
Yep.
because it's not in the resolution, and it would be great if it was in the letter. Thank you.
Thank you.
And all your recommendations, as well as any results from Charlie's temporary traffic changes, will be in that. So, as far as the CACs go, Councilwoman McNamara has volunteered to take most of the Flanders CAC meetings. I will continue to attend the Franca meetings, and hopefully we'll eventually be on the same page there. And I'll be happy to continue to attend the Watermill CAC meetings. Thank you.
I don't like to put you in a position of having to choose favorites. Sophie's choice, but.
Understood.
That's it.
Anybody on Zoom?
Anybody on Zoom, Kevin?
No one's on Zoom.
All right, Maria.
All right, well then I move to close public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move ahead with the resolutions.
Town Board Resolution 732 of 2025, resolution adopting Town Code Amendment repealing Section 330-162.21 entitled Battery Energy Storage Systems in Excess of 600 Kilowatt Hours, co-sponsored Supervisor Moore. I need a motion to amend.
Second.
A motion to amend, right, go ahead, Cindy, and say
All in
what the
favor?
amendment is.
Aye.
Well, don't you want to say what the amendment is?
It's just to add the notice of adoption for June 10th. I believe, Kim, you have all these changes?
We're switching out the date, the
Yeah.
May 27th date for this, the June 10th in the adoption. We're going to do that.
Okay,
in
who
next one.
seconded the motion? Bill? Yeah, okay.
Bell.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve is adopted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 733 of 2025, I would like to withdraw.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 734 of 2025, resolution adopting amendments to Town Code Section 330-37 entitled Industrial Districts Table of Use Regulations as it results to battery energy storage systems. I need a motion to amend to reflect the change of date on this one as well.
Second.
Was there a second?
Yep.
Bill?
You gotta turn your mic
Okay,
on.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adopt as amended?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-735, to assume lead agency for the purpose of seeker review and to adopt a negative declaration in connection with Town Code, Town of Southampton Code, Chapter 330 zoning, amendment for the creation of a new Article 33 entitled Battery Energy Storage Systems.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 736 of 2025, I'd like to withdraw.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-737, resolution of adoption of amendments to town chapter, well, it should say town code chapter, 123, building construction, subsection 123-39.3, entitled Battery Energy Storage Systems. I move to amend the notice of adoption to reflect that the vote to adopt will take place on June 10th at 1 o'clock. All in favor?
Aye.
And then move to adopt as amended.
Same second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 738 of 2025, co-sponsor is Supervisor Moore. I need a motion to amend to reflect the date change to June 10th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve is amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-739, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara. A resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 157, Type 1 actions to add a new subsection 8 as it relates to battery energy storage systems with a capacity of 600 kilowatts up to a maximum of 5 megawatts. I move to amend the motion to the notice of adoption to reflect the June 10th date.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then move to adopt the resolution as amended.
Same second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 740 of 2025, resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 330 zoning subsection 330-10 as it relates to residential use tables. I need a motion to amend to reflect the Town Board date of June 10th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-741, I'd like to withdraw this one.
Town Board Resolution 2025-766 to authorize purchases of aftermarket vehicle parts from Genuine Parts Company, doing business as Napa Auto Parts using the Sourcewell contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-767, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, to authorize purchases of electrical services from All Service Electric, Inc. using the Eastern Suffolk BOCES contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-768, to authorize purchases of intelligent facility and security systems and solutions from the New York State contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 769 of 2025, authorized purchases of storage containers and office trailers from Casone Leasing, Inc., using the Suffolk County contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-770, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with BEI Holdings, Inc. for maintenance coverage for digital voice recording system utilized in the 911 dispatch center of the police department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-771, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell, authorize supervisor to sign contract with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Survey DPC for professional engineer design service for Bay Drive Bulkhead Phase 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-772, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell. Authorize supervisor to sign contract with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Survey DPC to provide consultant administration inspection service for Bay Avenue East Shoreline Stabilization.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-773, authorize supervisor to sign a no-cost contract extended with L.K. McLean to Associate Engineer and Survey DPC for professional engineer service for Yacht Club Drive, Remsenburg bulkhead replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-774. This is authorizing the supervisor, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore, authorizing the supervisor to sign an agreement with Suffolk County for the distribution of STOA funding for the operation of the Southport Commuter Connection Bus Service. That's state transportation aid that helps us to continue some of our public transportation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 775 of 2025, authorize the purchase of a 6-passenger low-floor van with ramp from NYS OGS contract with Matthews Bus Alliance Incorporated, doing business as Matthews Buses Commercial.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 776 of 2025, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore, authorize the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Long Island Electric Utility Servco, LLC, as agent for and on behalf of Long Island Lighting Company, doing business as LIPA for emergency parking at Red Creek Park.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 777 of 2025, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore, authorize the supervisor to execute any and all documents with Quan Software Engineering Incorporated, doing business as VeryPick Inc., to renew the license maintenance agreement for VeryPick software.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 778 of 2025, authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with LMJ ENT LLC, doing business as the Sandcastle Cafe for Tiana Beach concession for the 2025 summer season.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-779, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Advanced Wastewater Services, Inc. for the Town Hall Sanitary System Inspection Service visits.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-780, award and authorize supervisor to sign contract with Luthers Association, Inc. for 30 Club Lane Maintenance Garage.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-781, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, and award and authorize the purchase of one 2025 Ford F-150XL Super Crew from Schultz Ford Lincoln, Inc., using New York State OGS contract for vehicles Class 1-8 statewide.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-782, recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2025-205, authorizing the supervisor to execute the 2025 Youth Bureau agreements with Youth Bureau Programming Consultants, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-783, co-sponsored with Councilman McNamara, recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2025-620, authorize funding for Iconic X-Ray Partnership from 2025 Community Preservation Fund, water quality monies, and create a capital account for water quality projects from portion of the 2025 award.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board
Town Board
Resolution.
Resolution. Oh,
This is Maria.
sorry.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see yours.
Oh.
Apologize.
Town Board Resolution 2025-784, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution number 2024-445, to authorize the supervisor to execute an extended agreement with L.K. McLean Associates Engineering and Surveying, DPC, as it relates to the professional services for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-785, reject all bids for Mercury Marine engines.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-786, the resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign a retainer for legal services performed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-787, I'm going to withdraw this one. Town Board Resolution 2025-788, amend the 2025 budget for the Highway Department for snow removal expense.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-789, to amend the 2025 budget for various departments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-790, to amend the 2025-2029 capital budget and add capital project Tiana and Sandbar storm recovery.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-791, co-sponsored by Council Members Martell, McNamara, and Pell. The Hampton Bays Volunteer Ambulance Corps Service Award Program.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And Madam Clerk, may I be added to that?
Certainly. Thanks.
Town Board Resolution 2025-792 to recall and rescind Town Board Resolution number 2025-660.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-793 to accept the resignation of Zeb Youngman from the Conservation Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye, and I'd like to thank him for his service.
Yes, I
20 years.
definitely want to thank him for 20 years of dedicated service to the town. Thank you, Zeb. Town Board Resolution 2025-794 to authorize the town attorney to accept a settlement from Progressive Insurance for damage to a town light pole and fence as a result of an accident which occurred on November 27th, 2024. Did someone second it?
Bill.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-795, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, a resolution adopting an amendment to Town Code Section 330-33, Business District Table of Uses.
Second.
All in favor?
Town Board Resolution 796 of 2025, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore and Councilman Pell. Resolution of adoption adding new Article 33 entitled Battery Energy Storage Systems. On the motion, I would just like to thank the supervisor and all of the participants in the BESS task force. It was a long process, and I'm happy Mr. Crispinelli is here to see the supervisor. We are getting it done today. So I want to thank also Janice Scherer for going to the Suffolk County Planning Commission and getting their blessing on the code as well. It was a long road, but we got there, and I think this is just the right code for where we're at now as a town and our geographic and environmental concerns. And, you know, I'm happy with it, so.
And I am as well. And I thank everybody that you just mentioned. And we, you know, it was a long journey, and it may have seemed that we fussed over it too much, but I think now we're all extremely comfortable with it and pleased with the result. And I'm glad to be putting this behind us.
Yes.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just want to say one more thing on this. Don't worry about the dollar. On the news, on the news, you see a lot of other reports with other townships in the city with the same problem we had, and they're probably looking at us and copying some of the things we did to make it safety for the neighborhoods against the battery storage.
Yeah, no, it's a nationwide issue.
It's all over.
And I'll just say that, you know, it's great that this was done in-house. I think it shows that government can actually get the job done, and we don't have to necessarily always rely on the private sector to do government's work. I think that's a really important thing to demonstrate. I'll also say it's really, and this is really indicative of the work that Supervisor Moore and Councilwoman McNamara did on the steering committee, that we were able to not only hear from the critics and involve their concerns in this process, but also this has the support of the Sustainability Committee as well. So it's great that both sides were heard and has broad agreement across the board. So,
And I also want to do a special shout out thank you to Seth Race, who is here.
Seth
who
Race.
did a phenomenal job doing all of the research. And I'm sorry, Mr. Crispinelli, we had public portion.
we're in the agenda.
Sir,
You can't.
we're moving.
On Town Board Resolution 2025-797, co-sponsored with Councilman Irizarry.
Second.
Resolution to adopt amend Chapter 312-11B to authorize additional stop signs on Noack Road and intersection of Long Beach Road and Stony Hill.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-798, resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 312, Section 312-97, entitled Vehicle and Traffic, subsection H, entitled Noyak Unincorporated Sag Harbor, to provide a uniform speed limit of 30 miles per hour for the full length of Noyak Road in both directions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 799 of 2025, co-sponsored with council members Iacilli, Martell, and Pell. Authorization of cost reimbursement for Hampton Bays High School Class of 2025 Commencement Parade, held on June 23rd, 2025, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Second?
Well, I certainly don't want to be the only one not on that resolution, so Sunday, could you add me, please?
Absolutely.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 800 of 2025, co-sponsored Councilman Martell. Authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility use fee for Hampton Bays High School Class of 2025 Commencement Parade.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 801 of 2025, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for Blaze Church Hope Day 2025 that was held successfully on June 7th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 802 of 2025, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for Long Island Abate Veterans Appreciation Ride, which was held successfully on June 8th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-803, co-sponsored by council members Iacilli, Martell, and Pell, to authorize the Peconic Bay Region CPF tax refund pursuant to the first-time home buyers exemption for Henri A. Melendez Molina and Isabel B. Arevalo Melendez.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And Sunday, could you add me to that as well, please?
Certainly.
Town Board Resolution 804 of 2025, authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility use fee for Sagaponic School Annual Sag Main Beach Day.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And I just wanted to let everyone know the walk-ons and some of these, that seems like there's a lot, and they're timely because we changed the parking regulations from back to May 15th. So a lot of these school events and Boy Scout events were occurring before the need of a permit, and now they aren't. So now they need the waiver. So just for
Thank you for that explanation.
Town Board Resolution 805 of 2025, co-sponsored with council members Iacilli, Martell, and Pell. Cost reimbursement waiver for East Quogue Village Green Summer Concert Series to be held Tuesday nights from July 1st to July 22nd, 2025, with a rain date of July 29th, 2025.
Second.
Monday, would you please add me to that?
Certainly.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 806 of 2025, co-sponsored with council members Martell and Pell. Authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility use fee for the East Quogue Chamber of Commerce 2025 Summer Concert Series.
Second?
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And Sunday, I as well put my name on that one too. I mean, I think that, if the sponsor and if the liaison is sponsoring, that's one thing, but then if most
Everybody
of the
jumps
board
on.
is also, it should be consistent. Town Board Resolution 2025-807, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, a resolution releasing the performance bond in connection with the map of Spring Farm, Situate, and Sag Harbor, and accepting Clay Pit Road into the town's highway system.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-808, to appoint Maria Espinales to Senior Police Operations Aide position from the Civil Service list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-809, to rescind Resolution 2025-763, the appointment of a sanitation helper.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2025-810, to appoint Renee Klager to sanitation helper in waste management.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-811, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore. This is to notice a public hearing to consider the enactment of planting restrictions for front and side yards 5 feet from a property line.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For the reasons that I stated at the work session on this Sunday, I'm a no.
No.
It's just for this, open the public hearing.
Still.
Okay. Town Board Resolution 2025, oh, sorry, this is yours.
Town Board Resolution 812 of 2025, co-sponsor Supervisor Moore. Resolution setting a public hearing to accept an open space parcel in connection with the Planning Residential Development Cluster Plan for subdivision map known as Noyak Northview LLC in the hamlet of Noyak.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 813 of 2025, co-sponsored with Councilman Martell and Supervisor Moore. Notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of a grant of historic preservation and conservation easement and grant of restrictive use easement and accompanying public access and benefit agreement on the property located at 76 Main Street, West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center, Inc., Village of West Hampton Beach, and to amend the CPF project plan and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2025-814. This is to notice a public hearing to enact Chapter 233 entitled Tree Preservation.
Second.
On the motion, we didn't have a work session on this.
We did, though.
No, we didn't, not on this code, and the Director of Land Management is going to oversee this code, was not included in drafting this code. Do you want me to keep going on?
So I did speak with town attorneys on this.
Okay.
There was a work session that we had a few months ago on the tree planting restriction as well as the tree preservation bill. This would restrict excessive tree clearing and sets up essentially a category of criteria that would require permits for the elimination of a large number of trees. This merely affects large properties, does not really encompass smaller, property owners. This was a little bit of a veer from when we had the work session, so it's not exactly what we talked about, but it is within certainly the same category. This has been of frequent request. I understand your concerns with the previous bill with the plantings, but this one in particular has been a very frequent request from various communities, like in West Hampton, like in Noyak. They want to see a little bit more teeth to our preservation efforts. In addition to, obviously, we have a robust CPF program, but with respect to restrictions on excessive clearing, there's a lot of ambiguity, and this helps to set something into motion that is clear, and it also takes from Brookhaven Town's code as well. So our town attorneys did look at what Brookhaven Town was doing. I did have a conversation with the Director of Planning, Ms. Shearer. There was a bit of a miscommunication perhaps between attorneys and planning, but a lot of this is in line, and I think we're going to be having some discussions from now until when we set the public hearing, which is, I think we're setting it for June 24th. So we have time to review. I told the Director of Planning that we will invite her to the table to see if there's some tinkering that we can do from now until then.
Okay, at our work session, we had discussed setting a matrix to do this, which this is not. Just concerns that I have with this and concerns I have with moving towards the public session. It does say that, the tree has to be, the tree that is dead or dying is as determined by the land management director, who is not an ISA certified arborist. It requires a permit if you want to remove a tree from a residential property over 2 acres, which I understand, but it also says you cannot get that permit without having a building permit. So if I just want to remove a tree on my property that's 2 acres and I don't want to build anything, I can't do that. I can't get that permit without first getting a building permit. So there's a problem with that. There's also the chapters administered by the land management director, who, like I said, has not reviewed this. Fee, can I just please continue?
But you're saying she did look at it.
Okay, well, I haven't heard any feedback from her on this. It also says that every application for this has to go to her, then it goes to the planning board, then the environmental division weighs in. It also references the Commissioner of Planning, Environment, and Land Management. We do not have such a person employed at the town. So that's a problem. There's just, I can go on, but there's a lot of issues
Sure.
with this, and I would appreciate if we could have a work session on this, come up with a plan or something that everyone at least has all of the correct wording
Sure.
in it before we notice a public hearing.
I'm happy to
You
table
know,
this.
under the circumstances, since we should get some feedback from Janice, since she's expressed that desire, what if we table it and have the work session and then put it on for the next meeting in
Yeah,
case
if I
there's
have to
any
withdraw,
changes
I
to the
will.
code?
So you don't want, you want to leave it tabled as is with all this stuff in it?
Well, let's table it for now, and
Okay.
if when we have that meeting, that work session with Janice,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some significant changes, because I think there was some issues with the matrix and how actually public safety would be able to properly enforce given that matrix, because it was a bit complex on determining the number of clearing and what rises to the threshold of what is considered illegal clearing. So I just want to make sure that we are kind of sticking within this framework, but we can certainly, I mean,
There's also criminal penalties that I thought we were kind of moving away toward. There's
No, there's
misdemeanor,
no what do you
there's
mean?
criminal penalties in here.
There's no work session on the 19th, just to
Section
make
A,
you aware
criminal
of that.
penalties.
Yeah, we'll do it at the next,
There's
at
just
the
a
one
lot of questions with
thereafter.
this that I
Sure.
don't feel comfortable with.
sure,
at all.
I'm happy to table, and if we need to withdraw, we will withdraw. Is
I
that-
think it's a good
Okay.
So, Michael,
idea
I think
to
we-
address.
I'm sorry, I think you
I'm
honestly,
sorry,
I
I was
think you
just
should
gonna say, I
withdraw it.
think it's
There's
a
a
good
lot,
idea.
there's a lot in here we need to
Go ahead, Rick.
discuss. And I haven't had a chance to discuss a lot of this with you. So I would appreciate if you withdraw it and we bring it back in a little different form. So it's up to you. You're the sponsor. I mean, it's something we definitely have to tackle. We have to put a lot of effort into it. But as it's written, there's just too many questions here.
I mean, Bill, what do you think? I mean, Maria, you were talking, so I don't know.
No, just that I agree that it's important that we do look at this. You know, it's one of those things that the boards in the past also have tried to wrangle something into shape and weren't successful, but people are concerned. I'm concerned. I know probably
Yeah.
everyone is, and that we should have something on the books that
So I'm just
you know,
my
regulates clear cutting.
Fine table in the for work session.
the reason why I am hesitant to withdraw is because it takes it off the radar, and I respect everybody's position here, and I don't discredit anybody for the comments. I think there's some things that we'll need to work out, but you know, just as we worked out a lot of different specifics with the best code, we spent many public hearings running through the language and tinkering with the language. I'd like to keep with this framework because it's easy, it's understandable. You know, the community groups that have looked at it, you know, it's easy to understand for the most part. I'd like to just stick with it unless, again, the director of planning does have some very serious concerns that we'll withdraw. But
She has one very serious
but-
concern, and that is that this also gives the ability for the planning board to waive the required numbers of parking spaces, which they do not have the authority to do.
well, I think the goal here is to add layers to make it a little bit more difficult to remove large swaths of trees.
And everybody agrees with that.
And I think, you know, this town board, and not this town board, but many town boards have tried to wrestle with this issue and has failed to come up with something to produce a clear articulation of clearing restrictions. Now, whether you're in Eastport, whether you're in Hampton Bays and you're seeing overdevelopment and you care about the character of the community, you want the board to produce something that is clear within the code. I don't want to come up with something that is going to be too complex that makes it unenforceable. And I think the matrix idea, while I understand the goal of it, during the work session, it was expressed by the town attorney as well that might not be the best way to go in terms of clear enforcement of what the code states. And this provides a much more clear, straightforward, pattern and trajectory for us to enforce. Now, but I respect everybody's position, and I don't want to close everybody off. What I'm happy to do is I'm happy to table it. I have a motion to table. It sounds like I have a second here. I'd like to keep with the framework of this bill, but then we can work on it and tinker. And if again we have to withdraw, we will withdraw and produce something different. But I'd like to stick with the framework.
Second.
May I
Well,
suggest that
to-
you go out to a month because June 19th, you do not have a work session.
So,
So it wouldn't allow you time unless you're scheduling it for 2 days from now.
I agree with that,
so
Cindy.
what would you suggest?
Table it to the.
July 8th is
Let's
a
do
month
that.
out.
That's fine. Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we'll schedule for July 8th. That gives us enough time to have a meeting with Janice and talk a little bit
Yeah, we'll-
about it and get some more clarification and answers and get an analysis from her, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll have the work session. I'll mention to Janice Wilson to put on for June 26th,
Perfect.
as long as Janice is available for that day.
Town Board Resolution 2025.
Vote on the table.
Okay, I was just trying to push it along.
I'm sorry. Could you
All in
vote on-
favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Town Board Resolution 2025-815. I'm going to withdraw it.
You're withdrawing?
Yes.
This is the one that we withdrew and we brought back and now we got.
Yeah.
Okay.
Town Board Resolution 816 of 2025, co-sponsored with Supervisor Moore. Resolution of adoption of an agricultural easement in connection with the approved subdivision map known as Kamacutico LLC, located in Watermill.
One is just for pronouncing that.
Who's the second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that brings us to the walk-ons. Michael, you're first.
Town Board Resolution ID number 49442. This is to authorize waiver of demolition fees for the Long Island Head Start.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 50151 to memorize resolution connected with the New York State Highway Law, Section 140.18.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID 50152, authorize the preparation of a map plan and report attendant to the establishment of a park district known as the East Quogue Park District.
Second?
On the
All in favor?
motion, Maria, I know we were talking about waiting until we had that community meeting tomorrow evening. But with the timetables of this has to be published for 30 days before we can kind of move forward. And there is no cost to the town on this because we are doing everything in-house. So.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering about that. So that makes sense. And the meeting's tomorrow night, isn't that correct?
Yes.
I hope there's good attendance and good feedback.
Yes.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID 50154, authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility Use Fee for Hampton Bays Boy Scout Troop 483 Swim Test Barbecue at Tiana Bayside.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 50155, the warrant number 11, capital number 11, CPF number 11 of June 10th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution ID 50158, authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility Use Fee for Sag Harbor Boy Scout Troop 455 end-of-year scouting event.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, anybody have any parting remarks? No? Then, good meeting, then I move to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And just pretend that you hear the gavel.